Hi, my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Caitlin's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Caitlin's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Caitlin's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636. Locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Caitlin's Glass, the clear choice.
Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, where we explore the art of finding balance in a chaotic world.
Join us as we delve into insightful conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
We're your hosts, Dan Schmidt and
Ben Spar.
Let's embark on a journey to live our best lives.
This is BeTempered.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, episode number
19.
19.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard to believe.
It is.
Doesn't seem like that long ago. We were sitting in the basement and hoping it was recording.
Yeah. Then one more, and I got to figure out a new way to count because I ran out of fingers and toes.
Oh, that's good. How's football going?
Going good.
Yeah.
2-0 for both Cy and Jude. So going good.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Franklin Wildcats this weekend.
Franklin. That should be a tough one, right?
We'll see.
That's a political answer. Oh, good. Well, we're in the school's back in session. The kids are rocking and rolling and trying to get back into a routine, which has been good. I think my wife was ready for that. Yeah. Get everybody back and going and get them out of the house so she's not pulling her hair out. So, but good. So today we're going to go with Matty Ledgerwood, round number 2. Round number 2. So for those who may or may not have listened, what episode was it?
It was like
3.
2 or 3.
Yeah, I believe it was 3.
Episode 3, Matty came out to the house and went down into the basement, and we kind of winged it and did great. Matty's an inspiring guy with a pretty awesome story, and we've been getting a lot of feedback about Matty, and we want to see Matty's face on TV.
Said nobody ever.
I was like, well, I guess we'll bring Matty back. People are sick of looking at me and Ben. So, Matty, welcome.
Thank you.
Back.
It is good to be here, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So we talked here a week or two ago, and we were going to set this up and kind of had some bullet lists of what we thought we could talk about or want to talk about, and we came up with a couple. One of which we've talked about on various episodes of this podcast, which is discipline. Mm-hmm. And so discipline, the definition of self-discipline is the ability to control yourself and do what you know is a good choice, even when you might not want to. Mm-hmm. It involves putting off immediate gratification in favor of long-term success. So discipline's one of those things I felt like I had throughout my life, but I really didn't. Mm-hmm. I think in my mind, discipline was motivation, and motivation comes and goes.
That's right. But
until you develop that self-discipline, to do whatever it is every day, even when you don't want to do it, it's a hard thing to be successful and trying to be healthy, trying to be fit, trying to be successful in business or with your family. It requires discipline. So, Matty, talk a little bit, and Ben, if you've got any stories about how maybe self-discipline has helped in your guys' lives.
Yeah, I would. I kind of had. So I'm not like you. I never thought I was disciplined. In fact, I was very well aware of the fact that I was the exact opposite and lazy, and that kind of plagued me for much of my young and high school and college life, and really just almost an inability to force myself to do something that I didn't want to do. And so, now into adulthood, now you own a business and, lots of stress and pressure that comes with that. I've become very accustomed to doing things that I don't like to do in order to move to where I want to move to. And so I began to learn, what discipline was kind of when I got out on my own and starting to figure life out. But I would say about 5 years ago, it really ramped up. And there's a podcast that I like to listen to, And the guy was saying that every year he chooses a new discipline to work on. Something small, something relatively insignificant, something that doesn't seem to be earth-shattering, but he adds it to his life, and he works on that thing for one whole year. And then the next year, he adds something else. And the next year, and I was like, that's it. That is what I have to do. Because I can be scatterbrained, and I can, I need to do that, need to do that, need to do that, need to do that, and then you lose focus. And even if you want to be disciplined, perhaps your lack of ability to focus is kind of distracting you. And so I was like, that's simple, it's easy, it's manageable. And so I started with that. And so the first year, my discipline was that I just needed to become consistent in taking care of my body. And so I've been the typical adult male of on again, off again, on again, off again, on again for 20 years. And I said that has to stop. I'm almost 40 at this point, and I've got to become consistent. And so I spent I took some time and some effort, put a plan together. Got some help. I needed some accountability, and now whatever this is, 4 or 5 years since then, I've pretty well stuck to that. It's become part of my life. I do not like working out. I don't like exercise. There's nothing about it that is exciting to me. All those endorphins that people say you get when you're done is a total lie. That is not true. It is nothing but work and sweat. But I was determined to get better at it, and that was the first discipline. And then I wanted to add something else. And so the next year I was like, man, this takes a lot of time out of your day. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I had always been inconsistent before was because it took so much effort and time. And we're busy guys. Everyone's got a life and a wife and kids and business. And so I said, well, I need to start getting up early. And I was kind of the guy that I would, if I had to be somewhere at 7 a.m, I'd probably roll out of bed about 6:30 and be out the door in 5 to 7 minutes and be there at 7 o'clock or whatever. And so I said, no, I've got to win the morning. And so I just began to work on getting up early every single day, no matter what, getting that discipline of getting my mind up, getting a routine. And boy, I tell you, I found the best time of my day is now in the morning, early mornings, when my phone can't go off, I can't be bothered, I can think, my mind is clear. I can't sit on the couch wrapped up in a blanket. I'll go back to sleep. But I'll get up and I'll get moving, and that has really, really helped me. So that was year 2. Year 3, I was never a good student. I just not good at school. I'm dyslexic. And so reading has always been very difficult for me. I struggle with reading comprehension, twisting words around, but I knew that I was putting a ceiling in my life by not willing to educate myself in that regard. And so I said, I've got to get over that. And I listen much better than I see and read. And so Audible app, and away we went. And so that year, I think I ended up listening to 20 books or 19
awesome.
books or something like that. And so, and then this year, the goal has been, I wanted to add some movement to my working out. I do 4 days a week on exercise, and that's usually strength training and some HIIT cardio, but I wanted to add more movement in there. I noticed that whenever I'd go into a room, I'm automatically looking for a place to sit down. And it's like I'm constantly looking for a way to relax. And I was like, that's not a good habit. And so I decided I wanted to get 10,000 steps a day. That's kind of the gold standard, I guess. And so I began tracking all my steps every day. I used that early morning time to get up and take a bunch of those steps, and then I can usually get the rest throughout the day. But my wife loved it because I'd be home at night and I'd be like, I can't sit down yet, so I might as well do the dishes.
Get your steps.
That's kind of my steps in, so I might as well clean the house a little bit. And so there's all sorts of byproducts and benefits that come along with when you add discipline in your life. But what I have learned is that, naturally I need discipline because I am a lazy person. But I've been working at it hard, focused hard for, 4 to 5 years now. And I am becoming a disciplined person. It's just become part of my identity, that this is how I'm going to run my life, that I'm okay doing something that is uncomfortable, that pushes me, because in the long run, I'm the one that is growing from it.
Yeah. And I don't you're not a lazy person. I think people in general are just lazy. Like you want to be comfortable. Everything that we see, that we read, that we hear is about comfort.
Yep.
You know, feeling good.
Yep.
So sitting on the couch, that's a heck of a lot easier than going for a run.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I think that's human nature. Is we're looking for the easy path, and that's where discipline comes in and says no.
Yep.
When you want to go and sit on that couch, that's when you actually need to go do something.
Yes.
And that's important for everybody to understand, because, you know, you'll hear the comment, how do you do this or how do you do that? I don't know how you squeeze everything in. Like in my instance, you got 5 kids, you got businesses, you got a farm, you got all this stuff. You can do it. Mm-hmm. You just, like you said, I get up at 4:45 in the morning every single morning, and I get my workout in. And for me, I'm the same way. I have a routine every morning, 7 days a week that I do. And those from 4:45 till about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning, it involves working out, spending time with my kids, eating breakfast, drinking coffee, talking to my wife, and then the day begins. Yeah. Because typically at 8 o'clock, that's when everybody else gets rolling. That's when the emails and the phone calls and the text messages start. Yep. So if I have those 2.5 hours prior, I can get a lot of stuff done. Mm-hmm. I can focus on me getting better, on my discipline, and on my family. And that's some of the most. Well, it's not some of it. It's the most quality time of my day, because there's times when, we'll have ball games in the evenings and we don't get home until 10 o'clock at night. So you're just constantly running. And so that discipline to get up early, I think is probably the number one thing that people need to recognize. You have to do to develop that discipline.
Absolutely.
Hey, getting out of bed is, especially at that 4:45, it doesn't get easy, but that's the discipline that, hey, that alarm goes off, I don't hit the snooze, I get up, it's time to go.
Yep.
And your body gets adapted to it.
That's
People are
correct.
like, I can never do that. I can never get up. And it's like, yes, you will.
Yeah.
Like last night, I was putting Evie to bed and I'm falling asleep in his room. Well, my phone's in my room with the alarm on. 4:29, I think I woke up and it was like no alarm or anything. It was just my body's like, it's time to get up. And plus I feel like that starts out your day. If you start out your day early and if you're working out early, like I feel like immediately in my mind, the rest of the day is set. Like I started my day out. Yep. Worked out. Yep. Okay. We're on that healthy track and
you get that blood flowing.
Exactly.
Right. Get your body ready for, for whatever's coming for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's true that, like you said, that's why I set these goals for a year, because I spent months not being able to get up as I was trying to get up. And so, just because you set that as a goal and you're like, you just went 7 days and you didn't manage to get out of bed on time, just keep doing it, because you can train your body, you can train your mind. Now you might have to make adjustments. Yes. Maybe I can no longer sit in my bed till midnight watching Netflix. Okay? Right. If I'm going to get up at 4:30, that's not going to happen. But you can train your body. You just have to be willing to continually show up to do that.
Well, and I can tell you, if you start waking up at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, you're not making it to midnight.
No way. Not a chance.
We were out with friends that we were talking about Friday evening, and I think we got home at like 11 or 11:30. And for me, we come walking in the door and my 2 daughters were sitting on the couch watching a movie and they're like, "Are you guys okay?" Like, "Dad, this is like 2 hours past your bedtime." I know. I'm going to pay for it. But guess what? I'm going to be up again early tomorrow. I'm just going to continue to do it. That's right. So if you start getting up early, you don't have to worry about, well, I'm a night owl, I stay up to bed. No, you won't be, because as you make that adjustment and you put all that effort into that discipline, to working out, to doing whatever your job is every day, and you go at it 100% every single day, by 9 o'clock at night, you're done.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're whooped.
You are.
And those disciplines become habits too,
Yes.
Like you really got, the first couple of weeks, you really have to alarm and all that. And then after that, it's, a habit. You're getting up and you're going. And that's a good thing about, new disciplines that you're doing a year. I mean, I'm sure those are still lifestyles that you're doing. Those.
Oh yeah. Adding to it.
Exactly. And
absolutely.
Those disciplines became habits.
They have to.
So the podcast, is it Craig Groeschel?
Yes,
The
Craig
leadership,
Groeschel, yes,
yeah, his leadership podcast.
podcast.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody. That's a great one. He does. I think he puts out one a month. I think is where he's at now. But
Time well spent.
very, very
Time well spent.
great man. And his podcasts are fantastic. So what he picked up was what he's doing jiu-jitsu, right? That was one of the things that he picked up. And I've always thought about doing that.
Do it.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. And some of the, those get you into those different holes. Just, I don't want to be choked out. You know, I'm 45 years old. I'm not,
Body don't bend like that.
No, go ahead.
The end result has to be what Ben said, that you get to it being a habit. And the reality is that most of us live by our habits. They're just bad habits. And we have trained ourselves to live by those bad habits. You can just as easily train yourself to live by good habits.
Yeah.
The hard thing is, and this phrase I'm about to give you, this is not mine. This comes from James Clear book, Atomic Habits, which is a fabulous read if you want to begin the process of discipline. Because we hear the word discipline and all of a sudden we get like super freaked out that all of a sudden I've got to enter Marine boot camp. No, you just have to add some new good habits to your life. And so, what James says is a bad habit is immediate gratification and delaying the consequences. So I take the payment today and I take the good today and I pay tomorrow. And that's how most people live. That's how they spend their money. That's what they do with their food. It's what they do with their body. It's what they do with their relationships. I can blow my stack and scream my head off and say all the things that I want to say. And tomorrow I'm going to feel really bad about it. I'm going to damage my relationship, but today it feels good. That's a bad habit. So immediate gratification, delaying the consequence. A good habit, it's exact opposite of that. Yeah. It's a immediate consequence, but you delay the gratification. Well, I'm not going to spend the money today because I'm going to save the money. I'm not going to eat the bag of chips because I'm watching what I eat. And yes, right now, in and of itself, it feels like, this is painful and this is restrictive. But the snowball effect that comes with that delayed gratification that's exceptional.
Absolutely.
Exceptional.
Yeah. I want to go back to something, that I'm sure there's people that are listening that say, I can't get out of bed until 7:30 in the morning. And be like you, where you got to be somewhere at 8, you get up 7:30, jump, change your clothes, grab a Pop-Tart, and you're out the door. What I would say is start small. Yes. Right. So if you're getting up at 7:30 and maybe you have a goal to where you want to get up at 6, start getting up at 7:15.
Yep.
Do that for a week or two. Yep. Right. Then go 7. Yep. Do that for a week or two. Don't just jump into it, because I think that's where people really fall off the wagon, especially whether they want to lose weight or whatever their goals might be in life, is they just jump. And that's how I used to be. I was always the guy
2 feet in.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start on Monday. Yep. It's Friday night. I'm going to drink beer and sit on the back porch and watch kids play and be lazy, and I'm going to eat whatever I want. But on Monday, I'm going to get started, and I get started on Monday. And, man, I'd go at it full force. And I'd be good for about a week maybe, and then I'd get to Saturday night, and we'd be out with friends, and guess what? You start that cycle over again. Yep. Then there goes 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm going to do it again, know? And you get in that cycle. I think what people have to recognize, and I have a lot of people who had listened to us, Ben and I talk about the 75 Hard episode, which is an extremely difficult program to do, but it changes your mind shift. It gives you a mind shift to where you can develop that discipline, which is what it did for me. But what I tell people is, because they're like, how do you, that second workout, is it got to be just super intense? No. When you start off something, don't just, 2 workouts a day is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot time wise. Yep. There's an hour and a half out of your day that you have to devote to working out some sort. So what I say is, get that first one in early, and then the second one in, just do something. Don't go out and feel like you got to, if you worked out real hard in the morning at the gym and then in the afternoon you feel like you got to go run 3 miles. No, if you haven't run 3 miles, don't do that.
Right.
Just do that second workout, go for a walk.
That's right.
Start off going for a walk. Do that for a week. What you're going to find is your body's going to change.
Yep.
You're going to get a little stronger. So where you used to be at this level, now after week 1, that level's down here. You just keep leveling up. And then by the end of the whole program, at the end of day 75, now you got a hard workout in the morning, and now you're walking in the afternoon with a 40-pound rucksack on your back. Where before, because one, you lost 40 pounds, so you're actually going back to where you were. But now that 40 pounds, you feel what you lost. So I would encourage everyone, when you're trying to build discipline, to not jump in with 2 feet. Set a goal, but be realistic in that goal and how you're going to get there. Because if you don't, you're going to fail.
Yes.
You're going to fail, and you're going to be right back to square one. And that's where I was at for 42 years. I mean, I really started my journey on October 17th, 2022. So coming up on 2 years when I started the 75 Hard program for the first time. And, one of the things, Andy Frisella, who developed the program, and he talks a lot about how you develop self-discipline. And we've talked a lot about it here right now. One of the number one things is keep the promises that you make to yourself. If you say you're going to do it, right? Do it. Don't make up excuses. That's easy. That's sitting on the couch, right? When you don't, when your body says, "Oh man, it's today. It's 95. This has been a hot week here in Ohio and Indiana." It's easy to sit on the couch with the AC, especially after you've been working all day, right?
Yeah.
But that's got to be that trigger that says, "Nope, I need to get out there and go for that walk, or I need to go get that workout in." Another thing is establish accountability. That could be an accountability partner. You got a workout partner, a family member. I got friends I hadn't talked to in 20 years who had decided to do the 75 Hard program. Got a brother and sister-in-law who I never thought in a million years would do the program, that are on, I think they're 10 days behind me right now on day 40 something. They're doing it together as husband and wife.
That's awesome.
And it changes your relationship in a positive way. Same thing with a girl I went to high school and her husband. They're both doing it. I mean, it's awesome to get these text messages and to hear these stories, but some people need an accountability partner. Some people, like for me, I don't need that person to work out with me. I can do it on my own. I hold myself accountable, but I recognize not everybody can do that. Use your excuses as triggers for productive action, just like we talked about. You want to sit on the couch? No, that needs to be the trigger. Get out and go do something. Not that you can't sit on the couch in the evening after you've worked all day long. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you know in your mind it's time to go, but couch is comfortable. No, go do it. You've said it. Try something new and challenging. Right? Get outside your comfort zone. Do something you wouldn't normally do. For me, it's swimming. I'm not a swimmer. I'm an anchor. I don't know if you guys have tried to swim of any distance.
Pure muscle.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't know. If you guys tried to swim in your older age here? It's exhausting.
Yes, it is.
Like it is. I'm gasping for air. When I swim. So that's one of the things. You swim?
Yeah, but you got a backstroke. Keep your head above the water, and you can go as long as you can with backstroke. 'Cause you're breathing.
That's
you're
right.
good. But yeah.
So I would go out. Last year when I was doing 75 Hard, we've got a pond at one of the farms. I'd go out and jump in the pond. I would do, your watch, the Apple Watch will track your strokes. I don't know how it does it, but it'll track your breaststroke, your backstroke, your freestyle, all those. I did every single stroke. Oh, because I'd go one way and I'd be like, I'm going to drown, flip over on my back, and then I'd go back the other way. But try something new and challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Craig Groeschel, that's what he talks about a lot in his podcast, because it gets you out of your daily, the things that make you comfortable.
Yes.
So, maybe jujitsu's in my future. I don't know. It terrifies me, but. And then build habits and routines around your tasks, which we talked about that as well. Make a list of critical tasks. So things that you every single day, whether that's a list of 2 things, 4 things, however many is in that list, critical tasks every day you're going to do. It doesn't have to be workout related. It could be something with business, right? Hey, I want to write 5 thank you letters to customers, handwritten letters every day.
That's awesome.
That's something I want to do, right?
That's awesome.
That's a critical task for me. So, and then the last thing is self-discipline is necessary for success.
Absolutely.
If you want to be successful, or if you look at someone and you think Ben Spar is successful, right? What makes Ben successful? What makes Matty Ledgerwood successful, right? They have self-discipline.
Yeah.
Now, doesn't mean that you are 100%, self-disciplined, but you work at it every single day and you recognize that. So, so those are things that Andy talks about. Again, 75 Hard is the program that he developed, but man, all those things I think hit the nail on the head when it comes to self-discipline.
I think one of the things too, you have to have grace for yourself. I feel like that's where people fall off a lot of times. Like you mess up, right? So the one day you hit snooze on your alarm, well, crap. Now I got to get up at 6:45, be there super quick, or 7:15, get there at 7:30. Have grace for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what? Tomorrow will be the day. Or get right back on track. Then, if you have other goals for that day, get right back on track. Like we all screw up, you all mess up. Have grace for yourself, and I feel like because a lot of times, I mean, when you talk about the habits that you were in, all of a sudden Saturday you're back out, you're drinking again, and well, you know what? A couple weeks go by and we get back on track. Have enough grace for yourself that, I screwed up, but I'm working, like you just said, to be more self-disciplined, get right back on it that day.
Yeah.
And I feel like that helps you a lot, One of my biggest things and my biggest struggles to be self-disciplined about was I'm a emotional eater, right? And so if I'm having a bad day or something, I'm grabbing a salty snack, I'm grabbing ice cream, going to go eat a pizza, something like that. And it's until you give yourself grace to when you mess up a couple times and all of a sudden okay, you know what? The reason why I'm eating all this stuff is because I'm, somewhere in my life, I don't know where, I became an emotional eater.
Yeah.
So you got to break that habit, right?
Yep,
to get be self-disciplined. Yeah. So retrain your brain.
Yep.
But I feel like grace, that's a big one. You have to have grace for yourself, because a lot of times you see people and they struggle with one area or another, whether it's getting up or whatever, and they mess up and I can't do it. I just can't do it. And you can do it. You have to have grace to mess up, because if you're not failing, you're not probably doing something that's going to make you grow. Right. I mean, you gotta do difficult things, and you're going to fail if you're doing difficult things. Have grace to get yourself back in the game.
Well, just to that point, just redefine what the win is. Mm-hmm. So the win is not necessarily that, I'm not trying to get into a bodybuilder competition. That's not my win. The win is that I show up, and that's just what I've defined it. So the discipline that I'm implementing, the win of the discipline is that I consistently do it. And so if you miss a day, that's fine. You just keep going. So like you said, you have some grace for yourself, because I'm not trying to be perfect.
Right.
I'm not ever going to be perfect. I'm never going to go the rest of my life and only eat 100% clean. It's not going to happen. I'm never going to go the rest of my life and not sleep in or get angry and upset in a situation. We're humans. We've got a sin nature. So that's not going to happen. But if the win is that I'm consistently trying, or I'm consistently training, then I can stop worrying about whether or not I'm trying. And that's a phrase that Craig likes to use. Quit trying, start training. And you redefine that win, and the win now just becomes show up, show up, show up, show up. In that James Clear book, he talks about a guy that wanted to become consistent in going to the gym. And to your point about starting small, he said his goal for the first month was to just put his gym shoes on and get in the car and drive to the gym. And then he set his timer for 5 minutes, and he would be at the gym for 5 minutes, and then he would drive home. And all he was trying to do was get himself in the habit of showing up to the gym. And, after about a month or 2 months of that, then he added 15 minutes. So now he would get to the gym, but he literally started with, can I just put my shoes on? And that can be a win. Mm-hmm. And so, if you take something that sounds so big, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to all of a sudden have all these, I'm going to turn into a bodybuilder. You're not going to do that overnight.
Right.
Start small.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to start small. You talked about grace.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the hardest thing for me on myself.
Me too.
You know, when I started in 2022 in October, I didn't give myself any grace because there's triggers for me, especially food. You know, I'm an emotional eater too, as well. Chips and ice cream those were my triggers. That's like the heroin. You know, if I stay away from it, I'm good. But boy, if I eat a chip or if I have some ice cream, it's like instant. And then I can't stop. You know, I didn't have that self-discipline to stop. I just would just eat. But now to this day, you know, after that date, once I got through that program, there's been 3 times since October 17th of 2022 that I did not get a workout in. 3 days out of almost 2 years.
That's impressive.
And those 3 days eat at me.
Yeah.
And the only the 3 days that I missed was because we were traveling. We were in another country traveling back. So
Still unacceptable.
Right.
but
You're so lazy.
Yeah, geez Louise.
that's where the grace.
Everything I thought of Dan has just shifted.
But the reality is because you say that, and Ben and I are both like, dang, 3 days and 2 years. That's impressive.
I know.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man. But that's the reality, because everybody wants to crucify themselves for not succeeding.
Yeah.
And that's why you've got to redefine that win. The win has to be that you've done that consistently for 2 years.
Right. And I recognize that, you know, now. But I still, the competitor in me, just like you know.
That's how it is with my workouts. You know, when you first start working out, you get that like soreness in your muscles and everything. And then you just keep doing the same workout. And then you stop, I tell people, like, I miss that feeling, of like when you're really
Sore.
when you're really sore and, you know, I did something, you know, and I'll go in there and I'll try my best to, like, you know, in that hour, but it's just not there. And it's just like, daggone it. Like, I miss that feeling where you're just like sore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a competitor in me or what. But,
Yeah, I think it is.
But, you know, it's hard when you're working out by yourself to really still get that.
It is.
I mean,
and that's probably the hardest thing for a lot of people. You know, that's what I hear a lot of people say is, well, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it by myself. Well, I understand that. You know, once you get to a certain point, then you'll recognize I don't necessarily need that other person because I've done it myself once you get to a certain point. But bring a friend along. We've all got friends that can that want to improve and that can improve. So, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. Self-discipline, I think, is one of the number one things. One other thing we wanted to talk about, and this I think relates to self-discipline, is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So talk about that, Matty.
Well, I mean, we've already kind of talked about it in some great detail. One of my favorite verses in Scripture, Proverbs 14:4, it says, "Where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but abundant crops come by the strength of the ox." And so, you know, it sets up this metaphor that you can have a nice, clean barn, no stress in your life. You're not pitching a pen. You're not worrying about the chores. But it also means you don't have any crops coming in.
That's right.
And so, you know, if you're willing to put up with the dirty pen, so to speak, now you can actually bring a profit to the table. And the reality is true in our life. If we are willing to do things that we are like, man, I just don't like to do that, or I don't want to do that, or it's uncomfortable to do, or whatever, that's fine. You can do that. You can keep your barn nice and clean. It also means you're not bringing anything into it. And so ultimately it comes down to, I mean, do you know what you want from life? And then are you willing to go through some of the tough stuff to go find it, whatever that is? Are you willing to evolve as a person? Are you willing to change? Like you said about being, you know, there is no person out there who does not have some version of success that is not attached to self-discipline. It just does not exist. And we want to look at those people and be like, oh yeah, well, they just had better opportunities than I did. Or they just got they got a scholarship to school and I never got to go to college, or, whatever the thing is. And we want to look at that and we don't see the 15, 20, 30 years that they have just been evolving and changing and working and constantly putting themselves in a situation where they are truly uncomfortable, because the discomfort is what pushes you to grow. And without that discomfort, we'll all be fat and happy sitting on the couch. That's why I need to get my steps in, because I'm constantly looking for a way to make my life easier, more comfortable. And that sounds great. Coming, through social media, it sounds awesome watching influencers who feel like that's all they do all day. And it's like, my life would be better if there was just no discomfort in it. But the discomfort is the thing that will change your life. Absolutely.
100%. As you're talking, it was reminding me when we first bought the business, 23 years old, a couple employees, in my mind, like what a lot of people think is, if you're a business owner, you've got it all, right? You got all the money, you got you got the freedom to do whatever you want. Man, that couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. You want to talk about being uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Run a business.
Yep.
Right? Run a business as a 23-year-old kid who really had no business owning a business, but because of, the faith my parents had in me to say, yeah, you can do it, go do it. But you talk about being uncomfortable. I mean, there was 8 to 10 years. I'm uncomfortable every day. There's things that come up that make you uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable conversations you might have to have with an employee or with a customer or whatever it might be. But there's 10 years where it was very uncomfortable, very challenging. Every day was something new, whether it had something to do with finances, whether it had something to do with, are we going to get a job? Are we not going to get a job? Are we going to make payroll this week? Are we not going to make payroll? I mean, you've been there, right? Those are stresses that, not owning a business, you don't necessarily understand until you do, and you have to deal with it. And man, a lot of sleepless nights, right? A lot of challenges, being uncomfortable, but what's that force you to do? Forces you to keep going, to, get your back. We talked about it in the episode the first time, when your back's against the wall, that's where you find out who you are.
Yep, that's right.
And so,
sink or swim.
Yeah, to be comfortable, being uncomfortable is the ability and willingness to embrace unfamiliar, challenging, or uncertain situations as opportunities for growth and learning. To become comfortable being uncomfortable, a person must cultivate certain skills. You must be willing to embrace difficult situations.
Yes, through and through.
Yeah.
Is that how willing are you to expose weakness in your life? We're Americans. We long for security, but security is not freedom. It's the exact opposite. But with freedom, if you find freedom, there's a lot of effort that goes behind that. And so I think people they kind of get themselves to a spot and they plateau because they don't want to do the work, the effort to move to a different level, to move to a different room, so to speak. You've got to be willing to expose the weakness in your life. And the reality is, we all have it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is not one person here or out there that is not sitting on a huge pile of insecurity and fear and concern. I still, to this day, am worried. I every day I'm like, today do I go bankrupt? Today. Is this the day?
I have the exact same feeling.
Yeah.
Every single day.
People don't understand that. Again, that you're right. That's kind of a business owner only pressure. But the reality is that everybody that you see out there, everyone has the same problems.
Yeah.
And we are all full of our own insecurities and weakness. And are you willing to confront those things and slowly work through them? When it comes to discipline, you don't have to change it all in one sitting. And you don't need to attack 18 things at once. But are you willing to find that weakness? I had to start working out. I had to take care
Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, where we explore the art of finding balance in a chaotic world.
Join us as we delve into insightful conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
We're your host, Dan Schmidt and
Ben Spar.
Let's embark on a journey to live our best lives.
This is BeTempered.
I want to be not only for my health, my body, my business, my employees. I want to continue to improve and to get better. But I assure you, whoever's listening out there and they think, well, you can do, you've done this, you've done that. I still face those insecurities every single morning when my alarm goes off at 4:45 a.m. I do not want to get out of bed.
That's right.
But I do. And when you can develop that and you can recognize that it's okay to be uncomfortable, that's where you're going to grow in life. Your life will change for the better. So
that kind of reminds me of, so during our conditioning, which stinks in any sport you do, but for football conditioning, it was horrible for our boys. But so I made this thing. I looked up eagles, but we're the eating eagles. So I looked up eagle mentality, right? And so number 7, though, for like the Eagles characteristics and mentality, it reminds me of what we're talking about here. It says, when the eagle grows old, his feathers become weak and cannot take him as fast and as high as it should. That makes him weak and can make him die. So he retires to a place away in the mountains, and while he's there, he plucks out his weak feathers from his body, breaks his beak and his claws against the rock until he is completely bare. Then he stays in hiding until he grows new feathers, new beaks, new claws, and then comes out flying higher than ever before. Meaning we occasionally need to shed off old habits, no matter how difficult things that burden us or add no value to our lives should be let go of.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, and so I remember telling the boys, you're, whatever it is, like the habits and everything that we deal with in life, like, got to shed them. Yeah. And so that made me think of that.
Yeah.
And also shout out to the boys that listen.
That's right.
What's up, boys?
What's up, boys?
What's up, fellas? James Clear has another quote. It says, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits or your systems. And it is easy when, we look at our life, we're like, everybody can imagine, say, a different life or a better life, or, you want a more meaningful marriage, or you want deeper relationships. Again, this is not about, we're not talking about dollars and cents here. This is like true living. And we can identify that we want that. And then we always wonder why we can't ever get there. And we feel like it's just out there and we can't grasp it. We can't reach it. And that's why you have to be disciplined and be comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're not going to rise to that goal. You're going to fall to the systems you have in place that move you to that place, that projection, whatever it is that you're trying to hit. And so if you don't have a system in place that is able to carry you to that goal, we don't get there.
Right.
And so, the goals and the dreams are great, but the difference between dreaming and seeing something out there that you can't ever get to is habits and systems, and it's just consistency to show up every day.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's discipline, consistency, keeping those promises that you make to yourself when you say, Monday I'm going to start. You know what? Don't start Monday. Start that day.
Yep.
Right? If it's in your mind right now, don't say, I'm going to start, living a better life and being more disciplined on Monday.
Yeah.
If you say that on Friday, start it on Friday. Go do it right when you say it. Right? We are all very busy people.
Yes.
We have families. We're involved in our community. We have jobs. We have responsibilities. There are no excuses.
Yeah.
You should push yourself to be better. It'll not only help you, it'll help those around you.
Yep.
Right. And it's important in life. It's especially important this day and age with the state of our country, with the negativity that is everywhere. It's so important for us to be true to ourselves, to be the best version of ourselves so that can rub off on other people.
Yep.
Right. And how amazing for me to see that in my past 2 years of transformation in my mind shift, in the discipline that I have been able to develop, to see it in other people. You talk about rewarding.
Yeah.
You know, when you hear those stories or those people that are doing the 75 Hard program or whatever, man, it makes me emotional to read some of these texts, because it's like, why in the world would that person send that to me or tell that to me? People who are facing major health challenges are coming up and saying, man, the podcast is awesome. What you're doing is awesome. It's so nice to have this refreshing, positive outlook, something to hear, because all we see is negative, or all we see is phony, right? Social media, everybody living this lavish lifestyle. That's a bunch of BS.
It is.
Right? It's a bunch of BS. We're all out here trying to be the best that we can be, but be true to yourself and say, am I really being the best that I can be? You know, that's important.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
You got anything else to add? Any final comments? Any other quotes?
I mean, that was beautiful. No, I agree. If we look at our life as simply, let me live this out for my benefit, it doesn't matter what you achieve, you are going to be disappointed.
Yep.
The people, there are so many people out there who are what we would consider to be wildly successful, and they're miserable. So they cannot be wildly successful, but they did what they wanted to do. They went out and they achieved all their goals and their dreams for themselves. And I'm like you, getting out of bed in the morning is not so that I can go achieve some goal for myself. It's because I want to be everything that I can be for the people in my life and for the opportunities that the Lord gives me and the influence that I can have, because the world needs that. The world needs you. It needs you. It needs me. We need people that are transparent and authentic and out there working hard, and that's inspiring to other people. It's inspiring to me when I see that. And so, maybe one last final push then is that why do you want to be so disciplined? Why do you want to improve so much? And if the end result is that so you can be rich and have the lavish lifestyle, I think that you're going to be disappointed.
Absolutely.
But I can promise you that if you get a hold of the difference that you can make in the people around you, whatever that is, you're a business owner, you're a manager, it's your family, whatever it is, you all have people around you. And if you can say, I'm going to continue to grow and more, if I'm going to work on my weaknesses, I'm going to improve who I am so that everyone around me can benefit, your life takes on a whole new level of meaning that you didn't know even existed. And that is worth so much more than dollars and cents.
100%. I'm glad that you went there, because I was going to make a very similar comment about money, and that's not what it's about. And I think when you realize that, it's more about making that impact on people's lives. And I think that's what we've seen in the short 4 or 5 months that we've been doing this is the impact is awesome, right? That's what gets you out of bed in the morning, to keep going and to maintain that discipline. So, Matty, appreciate you.
Dude, you guys too.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
Appreciate everything you're doing in your life with your family. It's making an impact. And what I hope is that this continues to snowball in a positive direction, because I think it has become so aware in my mind that it is so important that people like us and people like our listeners out there keep going to be the best version of themselves.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Work on that self-discipline. It's not easy. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
Keep moving forward on a daily basis, and your life will be better.
Absolutely.
Everybody, we thank you, as always, for your ears. Please, 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 the only way that our show spreads is by liking, subscribing, click that little bell on the YouTube notification, share it with your friends so we can keep this ball rolling in a positive direction. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to talking to you again next week. Everybody, go out Be Tempered.
Hi, my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Catron's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Catron's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Catron's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636. Locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Catron's Glass, the clear choice.